Hey, yeah, welcome back to the channel. I've arrived early. I'm meeting Gordon at about 7:30, so I've got here a little bit early. Dash cam turning off. We're back on another adventure. We are at a place called Sunnyside Beach. We've come here because it's a really windy day. It's blustery and we're trying to hide. The wind's coming from the south behind me, and as we drop over the other side of the cliff on the cliff path, we're going to get down to a sandy beach and we're going to do some flattie fishing, hopefully getting a nice big turbot. I really do want one of those. Now, you may not be able to see it, but I can feel the car jiggling about here. It's only a little car, but I think any car would be rocking in this wind. It's it's quite something. I came out the house this morning and there was a little gap between the gusts, and I thought, oh, I'll put the drone in the car. But now I've got here, definitely staying in. There's no point carrying it all the way down there. I'll never use it. Being a southerly, it's just going to blow the drone straight out to sea. No chance of getting it back. That'll be the last I see of it, I think. Don't know if you can see all the seagulls, or the scurries as Gordon calls them. That little building on the horizon is a dovecote, and on the local maps it's called a dewcot, which is Scottish for doves. We're going to be walking in that direction, so there's a track that goes across this ploughed field in front of us, and then we will turn left, head west along the coast, and Sunnyside is just over the far side there on the west. The path just goes down to the left of that building there. In fact, you can see the wheelie bin flapping about in the wind. I think today is going to be a challenge. But anyway, I'm going to listen to some music whilst I wait for Gordon to turn up. And then we'll get our stuff on and we'll make our way down the path here. Walk along to the beach, which is just over in that direction, a little bit west from the car park. Let's just pan you around. And that is our home for the day. A lovely beach. Normally I'd be dying to get my rods in the water. It's a bit of a hike, that one, and I'm absolutely roasted. So I'm going to have, if I can get into it, a coffee to start off with. Just need to get my breath back, get kitted up. Well, that's the first rod out. So I've sent the first rod out, got the old Flattie rig on, my standard rig. If you want to see about that rig, I'm going to put a little kind of tutorial kind of thing. I hesitate to call it tutorial, but I'll show you how I make it. I'll put it right at the end of the video. So for those of you that are really experienced in fishing and know all about rigs, you don't have to skip on, you can carry on watching. But if somebody wants to know exactly what I'm using here today, it'll be at the end of the video, just after the outro. So you can skip on to that if you wanted to. So here we are, look at it. Look at it. No, properly look at it. Sunnyside Beach. Wow. Now, we thought it would be fairly sheltered down here, and to be honest, it is just a bit further up the beach. The wind is kind of funneling just off the cliff a little bit, as I thought it might do. It would have been too much for the drone, and the drone's back at the car, and it was quite a long walk, so that's staying home today. We've got a few rocks out here and a few over here, so there's isolated rocks. We don't think there's anything right in front of us. We're going to get the camera rod out, see if we can find anything on the camera. rod, the water wolf. Oh, last time at Sandend when I was doing the water wolf reviews at the end of the day, you got to look through 10-minute segments of film. It chops everything into 10 minutes. I hope that microphone's not too bad for you in the wind here. It is quite bad. Anyway, back to the water wolf. So it records 3 hours, 3.5 hours, but in 10-minute segments, and you have to watch through them all because it might be just that little flash where there's a fish. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, maybe I didn't capture anything on camera, but I didn't. So there we go. What was more important was I did catch something on the hooks, and I thought it was a sea trout. We'd got there early, I hadn't got my cameras set up. They were all back at the car. I just got my iPhone out and was filming in the dusk, really. So the footage is absolutely grainy and pixely, but it's the best I've got. I think it's a sea trout, but I'm willing to be corrected on that. What do you think? What did you think when you were looking at it? Go back, have another look at it, Sandend. Just go to the clip where we've got the sea trout on it, or the fish. Let's call it the fish for now. What do you think? Go and have another look, because I think it's a PB sea trout. If it's a salmon, it's my first salmon. I win either way. It's not about winning. It'd be nice to know really what it was. I think it could be either. It could be either. We just haven't got the clarity of the footage. There's not many spots below the lateral line. Who knows? Anyway, enough of that. You never know. We might get another one today. So the first rods are out. I'm going to go and set up the next rod, get that fixed up here, and then have a look at getting the underwater camera set up and see if we can get some footage on that too. This one's merrily fishing away. It's got the bells on it. I've got the gripper lead. I'm hoping it's going to hang on in there. Please let it be a nice big turbot or a BRILL. Not too fussy. I'm happy to catch fish. Welcome along to the adventure. I'm glad you're here. Great. Absolutely loving it. We've got the tide that's going to be coming in today, so be lovely. Catch you in a bit then. We certainly have some incredible beaches up here. Nice to put fresh footprints in the sand. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. So the rods are down here. To be fair, I'd rather not have quite so much surf, but just got to work with it. Just got to work with it. We're here now, so no going home. we're going to fish the tide up and see what happens. The beach up here looks quite good, it's fairly clean. Just got the odd few rocks here and there sticking out, so just got to be careful with those. Well, that's the second rod out. There's actually a fair bit of swell out there. Just making sure my clutches are set here. What a difference. So today is Wednesday. Monday this week I was fishing for pike on the loch and it was flat calm, it was mirror calm. If I stand this way a bit, the microphone will be hopefully out of the wind. Talking to Gordon, and he said that the forecast that he saw this morning was that it might gust to 39 mile an hour. We braved the storms for you. It's got nothing to do with it. I like fishing. I'll get out anytime. I really love it. I took my jacket off because it's quite a long hike and I was boiling up when I got here because I got 2 jumpers and the usual thermal stuff on, but I'm going to go and get the jacket on again because that wind is coming through, and I think if it cools you down to your core, you're going to have a cold day. So you stay here, I'll just go and get my jacket. This beach really does shout turbot to me, just looking at the colour of it and the markings on turbot. Just look at this. I'm going to try and put a picture in of one of the turbot that I've caught, and you'll see what wonderful camouflage they've got, how they'll just disappear on that. I've no doubt jinxed it saying that. It definitely does. Maybe even BRILL, who knows. As I've said, a bit less surf would do me really, but you work with what you've got. It could be as the tide comes in a bit more, it might drop off a bit, but as the beach gets shallower, I anticipate it'll probably just kick up even more. Gordon's away over there rock pooling, I think. He's left me keeping an eye on the rods. I generally just keep tightening these up a little bit. I don't think it hurts if you move them in a little bit. If you wind just a bit, you don't upset the gripper lead, you're just pulling the gripper lead in. It's still dug in there, and I just think maybe a little bit of movement might attract the fish. That's my theory. I think the tide has just turned. I think we're bang on low water. So that means we should be hauling fish. Dream on, dream on. Not seen any indication whatsoever so far. I thought I'd just try and do a 360 with the camera because we haven't got the drone. I just thought it might be nice if you saw the actual beach. So what might happen as the horizon goes wonky, but you can see the cliffs around behind us, bit of a valley coming in here. Horizon's gone there, let me adjust that. Back round the far side. That direction down there is towards Cullen, where we fished at Cullen. Just check that again. Gordon's rod's across the way. Lots of rocks coming out here. And yours truly with just 2 rods at the minute. Horizon correction. There you go. Probably not your most professional of 360s, but it's all I can do with the camera and the equipment today. Lovely. Just want these rods to start rattling now. Come on. 12 baits in the water and nothing happening. Can only mean one thing, can't it? Need to get more bait in the water. I may set up the other rod with the camera on it. I tend to look at the surf and get a bit twitchy. I think Gordon's going to go for it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I'm a bit cautious with my camera. I'm not saying Gordon isn't. He definitely gets the results, and they're good results. I'd really like to take the camera with me on one or two other little outings, so I don't want to lose it. Might just leave it until the weather's a bit better, the sea conditions are better. Chicken. Now, I'm in a bit of a dilemma. The rods have been out a while, and I said I was going to wind them in. But Gordon over here has just wound both his in. They've been in slightly longer than mine. All the bait's there, not a sign of anything taking it. I'm inclined to leave them out. What would you do? I'm thinking we'll leave them out. The bait's not disappeared. We are about half an hour after low water, so we're starting to get the flood. It could be that the fish start to feed a bit more. So I'm thinking I'll leave things where they are for now. The gripper leads are stuck well in. Yeah, I'm going to leave them. Decision made. What would you do though? Put your answers in the comments. Now there's something. I often say put it in the comments, but I was looking at YouTube stats, and 62% of folks that watch my videos watch it on a TV. I assume in, you know, kind of big TV thing. You don't have a keyboard, do you? So you can't really, I assume, click like or write anything. Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know whether YouTube takes that into account at all, that people watch on a TV, and the last thing you want to be doing is pressing all the buttons to try and put a text together on the comments, isn't it? Interesting. Still a bit quiet. It's not good, is it, eh? When you don't have surf. In fact, he says don't have surf, pointing at it's flattened off right now. It comes in, oh no, don't say it comes in waves. It comes in phases. It comes in phases. You just get a few real big rollers come in and mess things up a little bit. Gordon's found some interesting stuff foraging, so you'll need to have a look on his channel, Fishing Things. Go and have a look over there. I always think it's interesting, even though I'm on the beach with him, I go and have a look at the video, see what he's been doing on his channel, and it's always different. It is always different to see what we've been doing, see what little tricks he's been up to. Keep my eye on him. It's blooming slow though, isn't it?
Obviously,
the slow one. If you came out thinking I'm going out to catch fish, you just set yourself up for disappointment. If you're going out to have a good day's fishing, you'll have a good day's fishing. You might catch a fish, you might not, but you'll have a good day. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Having said that, I want to catch a fish. Keep watching my rods, willing them to have a little ding. So as the tide's coming in and I cast, I'm just wondering if I'm too far out with them really, whether I should bring one in a bit.
I was going to say to you, you're starting to cast shorter now, because maybe that's for the right.
Yeah.
Coming in, you see.
Just as you know, the tide's come over this flat bit. You know, once we get the rod rests on here, I'm gonna move on to this and just see if they come up onto that. Just cast a little bit further out for a big turbot, you see.
No.
Anything.
Yeah, not a bit good to have the your name on it.
There will be. I don't think the lead's gripping as well as that one. I'd be surprised if we've got anything. I'm not usually that negative, but Gordon wound in and, well, we had a fluke following yours, didn't you? So that's possible.
Stop being negative.
Don't know if you heard that, but Gordon's telling me not to be negative. Just breaking out that gripper lead. Is it coming? It ought to be a 10-pound turbot if it's this hard. No, I don't think there's anything there. Not one bait being touched.
You was maybe right to be negative.
I'm going to freshen them up and put them back out. And maybe haul this one as well. So we might bring the second one in as well. It's well and truly buried, this. Oh yes, it's coming out. There we go. Can just come in nice and slow, he says. This lead is doing the business here. Definitely getting stuck into it. It's what you need on a day like today. We've got 5 rods in the water. The last thing you want is one line moving around and getting tangled and everything else. I can see hooks with bait coming in. I don't think there's anything there. Nah. Same again. Absolutely nothing touched.
I had one bait missing.
Did you? Could have come off when you're casting. Could have. Right. You know the story. Get them baited up. Get them back out again. Thank you very much, my cameraman.
You're welcome.
I hope you like the beach. Sunnyside Beach. It's about a 20-minute hike from the car park, and the car park's a place called Flattie Castle Car Park. It's not far from Sandend. It's just across the other side here. But like somebody commented on the videos, you hardly ever see anybody else. We've not seen a soul this morning, not one person. The path down here across the beach and over the headland is part of the Moray Coast path. So I guess in summer it must get quite busy, but this time of the year, just Gordon and me got a whole beach to ourselves. Absolutely cracking, really is, really lovely. So I wound those rods in, freshened up the bait. So there's 12 new fresh bits of bait out there, and the bait that we're using today is mackerel tipped off with a bit of squid. It's the usual thing. Yeah, 2 hours in, nothing to report so far, but we're going to keep working at it. This is real fishing. Another angle brings you real fishing, whether we're catching or not. It could be small fish, could be no fish at all, could be big fish. Just, it's being out, it's enjoying the adventure. Well, I enjoy it anyway. Hope you enjoy watching it. Blue sky, lovely blue sky. Has the wind dropped? Yes, I think it has, maybe. It might have dropped just a little. I still feel that there are gusts coming along. Oh no! That tells you what a slow day it's been. I've almost drunk all my coffee. Well, that's sad. The last of that lovely coffee. Very nice, that. I'll go and watch the rods. This rod I've had a bit of trouble with. It almost feels like it's constantly slacklining. I think the lead has moved quite close to the other one, so I'm fetching it in. I can already see from here nothing on this. We'll get that baited up and put it back out, as I've said once in the past. Come on, we need a fish. We need a fish. Let's get the other rod in, see what that's like. Please, fish. Let's have a fish, just one. Come on. Come on, one fish. I'm not feeling it. This one must have been a long way out. As the tides come in, I've just kept moving back and letting more line out. Still out there. A long way out, this one. It's in that wave now. Again, not feeling anything. What can you do? Put more bait on, put them back out.
Oh, it could be.
There's no bumps on it, is there?
No, neither there.
Now then, it's small, but it's a blank saver. Now I'm just stroking this, not because I really like it, but my understanding is that turbot have some bumps on their back, and there are no bumps whatsoever on this. It's ever so small. It could well be a BRILL. It's quite round in shape, but stay still. It's quite round in shape, but its back is absolutely smooth. Underneath it looks like that. So I don't want to mess about with this too much, but I've never appreciated a little fish quite so much. I think it's a BRILL, and if it is, that's the first for me. I've not caught a BRILL before. As you can see, the water's everywhere. It's very clouded here. You may not be able to see it go. Off it goes. Now, that rod had been in about 5 minutes. I cast the other rod in and I thought, I've cast right over my other rod. So I was moving the first rod. It's only been in there 5 minutes. I think that's a BRILL. Answers in the comments, but I think that's a BRILL. There are no lumps on its back, none at all. Really, really smooth. Oh yeah. Blank saver. Look at the smile. I thought I was going home with a blank, but no, we've got it. We've got a fish. Now, there's going to be people out there saying, come on, wasn't even as big as your hand. But the enjoyment factor is huge. Little BRILL, brilliant. Oh my. That has taken some coming. It's now about 20 past 2. We started fishing here about 8 o'clock this morning. That's been hard graft, hard going. Let's get these back out because there may be more. When I got here this morning, I did an intro and a little video on the rig and explained all about it and said how it catches for me. And we've been sitting here this morning and I've been thinking, I think I've cursed it. Oh, come on. We need some more fish though. I'm going to keep my eye on the rods. You can just stay there for a bit. I'll bring you back when there's some action. Now, because that last fish, what is believed to be a brill, was so small, I'm going to wind this one in. I'm going to change the rig. I'm going to use that lemon sole rig, because you never know, there may be some smaller flatfish around. So just a bit of an explanation about this lemon sole rig. It's just something I've made up. I saw on Gordon's videos, the underwater videos, the lemon sole had got very small mouths. I confirmed that with Gordon. So when I got home that time, I just made a rig up with coarse fishing hooks. So I think they're either size 8 or size 10, just small coarse fishing hooks. And that's what's on the rig at the moment. So the idea is that we've got very small hooks, small amount of bait, and it may get the smaller fish. That could be why it's been taking a while to pick up fish today. It's worth a try. Work it out for the last hour and see how it works out. Anyway, that's what a lemon sole rig is. Just thought you might want to know about it in case you hadn't been watching. Gets me every time with that. But to be fair, we do it to each other. Yeah, in case you haven't been watching the channel and previous videos and heard me talk about this lemon sole rig. So there it is, it's out, it's fishing. Let's see if we can get something with it. A lemon sole would be amazing, wouldn't it, eh? So this one is the lemon sole rig. If I've got 6 fish on here, I'll be amazed, but I'll also be kicking myself for not putting it out earlier. It's probably been out about 3/4 of an hour max, I think. Nope, nothing there. No, nothing there either. Well, that's been a hard day at the office and a lucky fish, but glad I got it. Should we go straight into an outro here?
Aye.
I don't know if you can see on camera, but the wind has really picked up.
It's howling.
It's not what it was forecast, is it?
No, well, it did forecast that for earlier on.
Yeah, okay.
But by this time it's supposed to be dropping away.
It just seems to have got stronger and stronger all day.
Aye.
So we brought this stuff in. I brought my rods in. As you can see, full baits, and not had anything on that last lot of hooks. I did get what we think is a brill.
Aye,
which is
well,
nice and smooth.
It was smooth back, there was no bumps at all. Yeah, so
It could be. I'm going to investigate it and hopefully it's a brill, because I've not had one before.
Right.
And I've had a cracking day. I always have a cracking day.
Yep.
It's been an interesting beach to fish, really, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's a lovely spot. I've really enjoyed myself today. Just finding it relaxing, really, in spite of the wind howling and sun blasting in your ear. Again, it's been fine and relaxing.
That's been
a good day.
That's been good. Well, there you go. That's another day out on the beach, another adventure. So tight lines from me.
And take care of you, and I'll catch you after for me.
See you later. It's small, but it's a blank saver. Underneath it looks like that. So I don't want to mess about with this too much, but thought you might want to know about it in case you hadn't been watching. Gets me every time with that. But to be fair, we do it to each other. Right, now before I get started and baiting up and everything, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about the rig that I'm using today. On one of Gordon's videos, somebody asked him, well, can you tell us a little bit about the rigs and things? And I thought I'd just do a one-to-one and just explain this. If you know what you're doing with fishing, just skip on with this bit. I'm not a tutor. This is just how I do this. There are lots of different methods. I've copied it, I've not invented it. I've looked at other people's channels, I've read books, etc. This is what I do, and this is what catches a few fish for me. So I'm sharing this because one of the viewers was asking about it. So I just thought, well, I'll show you what I'm doing and you can see what it is. So first off, at the top of the rig here, I've got a little swivel. It only needs to be a small swivel. Even a tiny little swivel like that has got a breaking strain of about 40 or 50 pounds. Onto that is what we call the rig body, and that's the thick bit that runs between that swivel there and the bottom, which has this piece, a clip to clip this weight onto. This particular rig is made with 40 pounds amnesia, and that's the stuff that I use. And the reason it's 40 pounds, it's a Flattie rig, and I don't generally fish with anything more than about 3 ounces, and that's a little 3-ounce weight. You want to have this rig body a bit stronger, heavier than your actual weight, and that's so when you're casting, it doesn't snap off. You've got more power in the rig body. So the rule of thumb is if you've got a 3-ounce lead, 40 rig body, 4-ounce lead, 50 rig body, that kind of thing. So that's the principle of it. I tend to like to use these clips because that's on nice and secure. I don't know if you can see that, but it really clips on secure. The next part of the rig are these, and we call them crimp swivels. And it's like a bit of tube, and it's got a little swivel attached to it here. And that makes building the rig a lot easier than fiddling about with crimps, beads, swivels, etc. It's just one piece. You buy them in a packet of about 15 for about £3.50, something like that. So what I've done is I've got myself about 4 foot of this 40 pound amnesia. I've threaded onto there 6 of these crimp swivels. With a knot of my choice, I've just tied on the weight clip on the bottom, and a similar knot, I think it's a Palomar knot that I've used on, and I've used a Palomar knot on that one. You can use whatever knot you want, whatever works for you. If you need to find out about knots, there's another channel, my mate's channel, Douglas, Piscator UK. Way back he did a thing about knots, and I learnt a few from there. Now once you've got your 6 of these slid on, you can just nip them up with a pair of pliers. You only need to nip them. These crimps, if you push them too hard, you'll damage the main line here, this rig body, the 40 pound. Just crimp them a little bit so it doesn't slide. That's all that needs to happen. The next bit is off that little swivel, you want what we call the snood. And in this case, the snood is 20 pounds amnesia, so it's a little bit lighter. That means if you get any twists, tangles, etc., you can generally keep the rig body and just tie on a new little snood. I keep these snoods around 6 to 8 inches. I thread on a little floaty thing because I think a bit of wafting about in the water is good for the flatfish. A few little fluorescent beads, and that goes onto an Aberdeen hook. And if you can see that, is the camera going to focus on it? I've put a bend in the hook there, and just with the pliers, that little bend I think increases the hook up. Make sure your hooks are really sharp. If you can scratch onto your nail, that's nice and sharp. So tie on 6 of those. I use 6 because I've got a 13-foot rod and it can handle it, casting them out. If you're just starting out, maybe just make it, you know, a shorter rig body. Instead of 4 foot, 5 foot, use maybe 3 foot and just have 3 of these dangling off it, just to try it out, get to the hang of it. This is what I do, this is what I've been using. It has caught me a few fish on the channel, as you've seen. It works for me. I like to try different things. I have got different rigs, but this is a good starting one, and I usually have one of these out during the day, particularly if it's flat fish and on a beach like this. The leads on this occasion, because there's a little bit of sea out there, I'm using this. I call this a gripper lead. There's probably other names for it, but the idea is that you cast it out and those stick in the sand, and when you come to wind it back in again, these little leads can pop off here and it comes back a little bit like a rocket. So you'll have often heard me saying, oh, I'm just waiting for the gripper lead to break out, because I usually bring the line back in slowly, see if I can attract a fish on the way in. That's what's going on, that's the gripper lead. You could use one of these. I call that a clock lead. It's just a round lead, it's got some lumps on, it kind of digs into the sand a bit. If I was fishing on my own and I just had the one rod out, maybe two rods, but a good distance, I'd put one of these on so that it moved around a bit in searching for the fish, looking for the hollows where the fish might lie. Today, I'm going to pin it down as best I can, because Gordon's here as well, and we're possibly going to have 6 rods in the water today, and we don't want to be getting things tangled up. So that's my rig, and if that's helpful to you, give it a try. Just letting you know what I get up to. It is novice stuff, I think, for, you know, a lot of people that are expert fishermen would probably say, oh, I do it different. Great, that's what it's all about. Everyone does their own thing. Give it a try, maybe it'll get you some fish.